You might wake up feeling energetic, enjoying your morning walk, or thinking, I'm doing fine for my age. But underneath that calm surface, something subtle and potentially dangerous could be happening. Your arteries, the silent highways that carry blood through your body, may be aging faster than you are. Unlike wrinkles or gray hair, this change is invisible. There's no pain, no ringing alarm, just a gradual stiffening that can silently strain your heart, brain, and other organs. Many of us assume it's simply normal aging, but the truth is, circulation changes begin decades before any problem is diagnosed, and once they take hold, the consequences can be serious. Think of it this way. Your body might not just be getting older, it could be getting stiffer where it matters most, right in the pathways that keep your life flowing. It's not meant to scare, it's meant to alert and empower you so you can spot the signs early before small changes turn into bigger problems. When we hear the word aging, we often think about joints, eyesight, or memory, but arterial aging is different. It doesn't happen where you can feel it. It happens deep inside the blood vessels that quietly support every heartbeat, every thought, every step you take. In a healthy, younger body, artery walls are naturally flexible and elastic. With each heartbeat, they gently expand and relax, almost like a soft rubber tube adapting to the flow of water. This flexibility allows blood to move smoothly, reducing strain on the heart and ensuring that oxygen reaches every cell efficiently. But over time, those same artery walls can begin to lose that elasticity. They don't stretch the way they used to. Instead of responding easily to each pulse of blood, they become firmer, less forgiving. This change is gradual, often unfolding over many years without a single noticeable symptom. Because the arteries no longer expand as well during activity, whether you're walking, climbing stairs, or even digesting a meal, your body must work harder to push blood forward. The delivery of oxygen and nutrients becomes slightly less efficient, not enough to feel immediately, but enough to slowly influence energy levels, recovery, and organ function. Inside, this creates increased pressure on the cardiovascular system. The heart must generate stronger force to move blood through vessels that no longer cooperate as easily. It's like asking a pump to push water through a stiff hose instead of a flexible one. The pump can do it, but at a cost over time. A major driver behind this shift is the gradual decline of something called endothelial function. The endothelium is the delicate inner lining of your blood vessels. Think of it as a protective, responsive surface that helps arteries stay relaxed, regulate blood flow, and prevent unnecessary inflammation. As we age, and especially with stress, poor sleep, inactivity, or long-term metabolic strain, this lining can lose some of its ability to signal the arteries to stay supple and open. What makes arterial aging concerning is not that it happens, it's that it happens quietly. Many people feel completely normal while these internal changes are already progressing. That's why understanding it is not about fear, but about awareness. When you recognize what's happening beneath the surface, you gain the opportunity to support your arteries before stiffness becomes limitation. In other words, arterial aging is less about the number of birthdays you've had and more about how well your blood vessels have been able to stay resilient along the way.
Up to a certain point in life, the body is remarkably good at protecting and repairing itself. Small amounts of damage are quietly fixed, blood vessels stay responsive, circulation adapts easily. But after 50, several natural shifts begin to overlap, and together they can speed up arterial aging more than most people realize. One of the most important changes is a gradual drop in nitric oxide availability. This is a natural molecule your body produces to help blood vessels relax and widen when needed. In younger years, it keeps arteries flexible and responsive. With age, however, production slows, and the arteries don't receive the same signals to stay open and elastic. At the same time, oxidative stress, a kind of wear and tear at the cellular level, accumulates over decades. This isn't caused by one bad habit or one stressful year. It's the result of long-term exposure to everyday factors like environmental toxins, processed foods, poor sleep, and emotional stress. Gradually, this stress can damage the delicate lining of the blood vessels. Another quiet contributor is simply less daily movement. Many people become less physically active compared to earlier decades, but arteries actually rely on regular movement to stay healthy. Each walk, stretch, or climb of the stairs sends signals that stimulate circulation and maintain flexibility. Without that stimulation, vessels can become more rigid, almost like joints that stiffen when not used. Blood sugar changes and low-grade inflammation also begin to play a larger role. Even mildly elevated glucose over time can affect the structure of artery walls, making them thicker and less able to expand. This doesn't always show up as diabetes. Sometimes it's just long-term metabolic strain that goes unnoticed. And finally, the body's ability to repair and regenerate naturally slows with age. The same healing processes that once worked quickly now take longer, allowing small problems to linger and gradually build. None of these changes feel dramatic. There's no sudden moment when you notice them happening. Instead, they appear as subtle shifts, slightly lower stamina, longer recovery times, or a sense that the body doesn't bounce back the way it once did. The changes don't feel alarming, which is exactly why so many people overlook them. One of the earliest and most commonly dismissed signs of arterial aging is a quiet change in your energy levels. You may notice that activities which once felt effortless now require more effort. A short walk, carrying groceries, or climbing a flight of stairs might leave you needing a moment to pause, not because you're out of shape, but because your muscles may not be receiving the same steady flow of oxygen-rich blood they once did. Healthy circulation delivers fuel to your muscles quickly and efficiently. When arteries begin to stiffen, that delivery system becomes less responsive. The muscles are still capable, but they're being supplied more slowly, like a car trying to accelerate with restricted fuel flow. This can lead to a gradual decline in endurance, even if your weight hasn't changed and your routine seems similar. Many people assumed, "I must have lost fitness," when in reality, the issue may be how blood is reaching working tissues. Another subtle clue is recovery time. After physical effort, it may take longer to feel normal again. The body needs more time to clear metabolic waste and restore oxygen levels, which can leave you feeling unusually drained after tasks that once energized you. Because this shift happens slowly, it's often accepted as just another part of getting older. But recognizing it early allows you to ask an important question. Is this simply deconditioning, or is your circulation asking for attention? Another sign that often appears quietly is a gradual rise in blood pressure, so gradual that many people hardly notice it at first. When arteries are healthy and flexible, they expand slightly each time the heart pumps. This natural expansion helps absorb pressure and keep blood flowing smoothly. But as arteries stiffen with age, they begin to resist that expansion. The same amount of blood now has to move through vessels that no longer give, which raises the baseline pressure inside them. You might start to see this change in your home readings. Numbers that were once steady may become less predictable, especially in the morning. A reading that used to be comfortably normal might now sit in the borderline range more often than not. Over time, those borderline numbers can become consistent. Some people find that medication adjustments are needed, not because something suddenly worsened, but because the blood vessels themselves are less adaptable than they once were. This is an important distinction. Many assume rising blood pressure is only about the heart working harder. In reality, it often reflects a change in the artery's ability to respond and cushion that pressure. Seen this way, blood pressure isn't just a number. It can be an early signal that the vascular system is losing some of its flexibility and asking for support before more serious strain develops.
Before we go further, take a moment to think about this. Have you noticed small changes over the past few years? Maybe your blood pressure isn't what it used to be, or activities feel just a little more demanding than before. These shifts are easy to dismiss because they happen gradually. If you're starting to pay closer attention to your circulation and health after 50, type "paying attention" in the comments. It's a simple way to pause, acknowledge where you are now, and commit to staying aware of the signals your body is giving you. Now, let's look at another sign many people don't connect to their arteries at all. The third sign is often the easiest to overlook because it feels so ordinary. Many people simply say, "I get colder now than I used to." But sometimes this isn't just about temperature, it's about circulation. As arteries age and lose flexibility, peripheral blood flow, the circulation that reaches your hands, feet, and skin, can become less responsive. These areas are the farthest from the heart, so they're usually the first to notice when blood delivery is not adjusting as efficiently as it once did. You may find that your hands or feet feel cold even when the room isn't, or it may take longer to warm up after coming inside, moving around, or starting your day. This happens because the small vessels that regulate temperature and blood distribution are slower to expand and respond. Circulation that once adapted instantly now adjusts more gradually to activity. Instead of quickly increasing flow when you walk or use your hands, the body takes more time to catch up. Some people also notice mild sensations, slight numbness, tingling, or a feeling that their extremities are slower to wake up. These symptoms are usually subtle, not painful, and easy to dismiss, yet they can be an early signal that the tiny blood vessels, known as the microvascular system, are becoming less flexible. Again, this is not about alarm, it's about awareness. These small changes are often the body's quiet way of saying that circulation needs attention long before serious problems develop. Another change many people notice but rarely connect to circulation is that the body simply doesn't recover the way it once did. A minor strain that used to resolve in a day or two may now linger. Post-exercise soreness can stay longer than expected, even after gentle activity. You may find yourself wondering why it takes more time to feel back to normal despite doing the same things you've always done. This happens because recovery depends heavily on healthy blood flow. Every repair process in the body, healing muscle fibers, calming inflammation, restoring energy, relies on arteries delivering oxygen and nutrients exactly where they are needed at the right time. When arteries lose some of their flexibility, that delivery system becomes less efficient. It's not that healing stops, it simply slows. The tissues are still being supported, but the response is less immediate, less dynamic than it once was. You may also notice that energy restoration feels delayed. After exertion, the body takes longer to replenish itself. This can create a sense of fatigue that seems out of proportion to the effort you made. Taken together, these shifts reflect a broader change. The vascular system is not responding as quickly or as smoothly as it did in earlier decades. These signs may seem unrelated, but they share one root cause: arteries that are losing their ability to adapt.
What makes arterial aging especially concerning is not just that it happens, but that it is so easy to overlook. These changes develop slowly, often over many years. There is no single moment when something clearly feels wrong. Instead, the body adjusts step by step, and each shift is small enough to seem harmless on its own. One symptom might appear as fatigue, another as slightly higher blood pressure, another as colder hands or slower recovery. Because they don't seem connected, each one is often addressed separately, if it's addressed at all. People adapt, compensate, and move on, assuming this is simply how aging is supposed to feel. Adding to this, there is usually no routine test during standard checkups that directly measures arterial flexibility. Traditional exams are excellent at detecting disease once it is present, but arterial stiffness can progress quietly long before it crosses that diagnostic line. As a result, many of these signals are attributed entirely to just getting older. Yet what's happening is more specific: a gradual change in how effectively blood vessels respond, deliver nutrients, and support the body's daily demands. This is why functional decline, subtle losses in stamina, resilience, or temperature regulation often appears before any disease is formally diagnosed. The body whispers long before it ever has to shout. Recognizing these whispers is not about worry. It's about understanding that aging is not only measured in years, but also in how well the systems inside us continue to adapt and respond. At the center of arterial aging is something most people have never heard of, yet it plays a powerful role in how your circulation behaves every single day. It's called the endothelium, a paper-thin inner lining that coats every blood vessel in your body. Though delicate, this lining acts almost like a command center. It governs how your vessels expand, contract, and respond to the body's needs. When it's functioning well, arteries remain smooth, flexible, and responsive. Blood flows easily. Pressure stays balanced. Tissues receive what they need without strain. One of the endothelium's most important jobs is producing nitric oxide, the tiny chemical message that tells blood vessels to relax and widen. This tiny chemical message is what allows arteries to adapt instantly to exercise, to stress, even to changes in temperature. But the endothelium is also highly sensitive. Years of low-grade inflammation, metabolic stress, elevated blood sugar, poor sleep, or inactivity can gradually interfere with its ability to send those signals. When that happens, arteries don't relax as readily. They begin to behave more rigidly, and circulation loses some of its natural rhythm. In many ways, the condition of this microscopic lining determines whether arteries age gracefully or become stiff over time. The encouraging part, and this is important for people to understand, is that the endothelium remains surprisingly responsive even later in life. Unlike some aging processes that cannot be influenced, this one can still react positively to supportive habits. The system is not shut down, it is simply waiting for the right signals again. That means arterial age is not only a matter of years, it is also shaped by how we care for this tiny but powerful layer within our vessels. The good news is that vascular aging is not something that only moves in one direction. While we cannot stop time, we can strongly influence how our blood vessels behave as the years go on. Small, steady habits send powerful signals to the endothelium, the very system that controls whether arteries stay flexible or become stiff. One of the most effective tools is daily movement. Not intense exercise, but consistent motion. Walking, gentle cycling, stretching, or even regular household activity encourages blood vessels to expand and contract rhythmically. This repeated stimulation reminds arteries how to stay responsive, much like regularly opening and closing a hinge keeps it from rusting. Certain foods also appear to support this natural process. Vegetables rich in natural nitrates, such as leafy greens and beets, can help nourish the body's nitric oxide pathways, assisting vessels in relaxing the way they were designed to. These are not quick fixes, but they provide the raw materials your body uses to maintain healthy signaling. Adding light strength training a few times a week can further improve circulation. When muscles contract against resistance, they create a healthy demand for blood flow. The cardiovascular system responds by improving delivery and adaptability, reinforcing the communication between the heart and the vessels. Healthy fats, like those found in olive oil, nuts, seeds, and certain fish, help support the structure of the endothelial lining itself. Rather than clogging arteries, these fats, when replacing processed ones, contribute to maintaining smooth, functional vessel walls. Even simple environmental factors matter more than many people realize. Regular exposure to natural sunlight helps regulate biological rhythms tied to vascular function, while calm nasal breathing supports better oxygen balance and signaling within the circulatory system. These quiet influences help the body shift into a more restorative, regulated state. And just as important is reducing excess added sugar. Over time, high sugar intake contributes to oxidative stress, which can damage the delicate endothelial layer. Lowering that burden allows the vessels to function with less irritation and more resilience. None of these steps are extreme. They don't require dramatic change. Instead, they work by gently reminding the body of patterns it already understands: movement, nourishment, rhythm, and recovery. For many people over 50, this is reassuring. The goal is not to push harder, but to support the systems that have been supporting you all along.
Just as certain habits can support healthy blood vessels, others can slowly work against them, often without drawing attention. These patterns don't cause sudden damage. Instead, they create a steady background strain that, over time, makes arteries less flexible and less responsive. One of the most common is prolonged sitting. When the body remains still for hours at a time, circulation becomes sluggish. Blood vessels are designed to respond to movement, and without that regular stimulation, they receive fewer signals to expand and contract. It's not the resting that causes harm, it's the lack of interruption to that rest. Diet patterns centered around ultra-processed foods can also contribute. These foods often contain refined sugars, damaged fats, and additives that promote low-grade inflammation. Over many years, this can irritate the endothelial lining, making it harder for arteries to maintain their natural elasticity. Chronic psychological stress is another quiet influence. The body interprets ongoing stress as a signal to remain in a heightened state of alertness. Stress hormones can narrow blood vessels and increase internal pressure, and when this state becomes constant, the vascular system loses opportunities to fully relax and repair. Something as simple as not drinking enough water can also play a role. Proper hydration helps maintain healthy blood volume and flow. When hydration is inadequate, circulation can become more concentrated and less efficient, subtly increasing strain on vessel walls. Sleep disruption is equally important. During restful sleep, the cardiovascular system shifts into a recovery mode. Blood pressure lowers, repair processes activate, and the endothelium resets for the next day. Poor or inconsistent sleep interrupts this essential maintenance window. And finally, excess alcohol intake can gradually impair vascular signaling and contribute to oxidative stress when consumed beyond moderate levels. While occasional intake may fit into a balanced lifestyle, repeated excess places additional burden on already aging vessels. Individually, none of these habits seem dramatic, but together and repeated over years, they can quietly accelerate the very process most people assume is unavoidable aging. The reassuring message is that because these influences are lifestyle-driven, they are also adjustable. Even small changes can begin to shift the environment your arteries live in, helping them function more like they did years earlier. The encouraging truth is that arteries are not set in stone. Even later in life, they remain remarkably responsive to supportive habits, and improvements can begin sooner than most people expect. With consistent lifestyle choices, functional improvements may be noticeable within weeks. Often, the first changes are subtle but meaningful. You might feel a bit more energetic, notice your hands and feet stay warmer, or experience less fatigue after routine activity. These are early signs that your blood vessels are responding to better flow and increased flexibility. Blood pressure trends tend to adjust more gradually. Unlike energy or warmth, numbers on a cuff reflect deeper systemic changes, and they improve steadily as your arteries regain some elasticity. It's a process built on repetition, not sudden intensity. Daily movement, balanced meals, proper hydration, and stress management all contribute to this ongoing adaptation. Over the longer term, consistency reshapes vascular behavior. The endothelium, the delicate lining that governs flexibility, remembers the signals it receives. With repeated positive reinforcement, arteries can regain responsiveness that may have been declining for years. In short, it's not about drastic interventions. Small, steady changes compound over time, gradually restoring circulation and giving your body the support it needs to feel stronger, warmer, and more resilient, sometimes faster than you might imagine. While many early signs of arterial aging can be managed through lifestyle, there are times when professional guidance is essential. Your healthcare provider can help distinguish normal age-related changes from early warning signs of cardiovascular stress, ensuring that interventions are both safe and effective. One clear signal is persistent high blood pressure. If readings remain elevated over weeks or months, it may indicate that the arteries are under continuous strain and require monitoring or treatment. Similarly, chest discomfort or unusual breathlessness, even during routine activities, should never be ignored, as they may reflect underlying heart or vascular issues. Severe fatigue or dizziness is another red flag. While mild tiredness can be a normal part of aging, extreme or sudden exhaustion may point to circulation problems that warrant immediate evaluation. Likewise, a history of metabolic or cardiovascular conditions such as diabetes, heart disease, or prior vascular events makes regular check-ins even more important, as these conditions can accelerate arterial aging. And finally, trends in cholesterol or glucose levels can reveal early strain on the vascular system. Even if you feel fine, concerning shifts in these numbers provide your doctor with critical insight into your arteries' health, guiding both lifestyle and medical interventions. The key is to view these moments not as fear triggers, but as opportunities. Consulting a professional allows you to take informed, proactive steps, supporting your arteries, protecting your heart, and maintaining energy and independence well into later life.
When we step back and look at the whole body, it becomes clear circulation is at the heart of how we age. It's not wrinkles or gray hair that dictate vitality. It's the smooth, efficient flow of blood through arteries that determines how well every organ performs. Your brain, heart, kidneys, and even muscles rely on this vascular efficiency. When arteries remain flexible, these organs receive oxygen and nutrients promptly, helping them maintain function, resilience, and adaptability. When arteries stiffen, circulation slows, and subtle changes can ripple through the body, affecting memory, energy, recovery, and overall health. Maintaining arterial flexibility supports independence later in life. Simple daily activities, walking, climbing stairs, lifting light objects, become easier, safer, and more enjoyable when the circulatory system can adapt quickly. Strong, responsive arteries act like internal scaffolding, keeping the body supported even as the years pass. Perhaps most importantly, arterial health influences your biological age far more than appearance ever could. Two people may look similar on the outside, yet one may move with ease and energy while the other struggles with fatigue or slower recovery, all because of differences in circulation. The most empowering part is this: prevention is far easier than reversal. By recognizing the early signs, supporting the endothelium, and adopting simple, consistent habits, you give your arteries the tools they need to stay flexible. That's the key to not just living longer, but living stronger, more energized, and fully independent well into later decades. The most powerful changes for your arteries don't require extreme workouts or complicated diets. In fact, small, consistent daily habits can make a remarkable difference in supporting vascular flexibility and overall vitality. Start with hydration early in the day. Water is essential for smooth blood flow and optimal circulation. Drinking enough first thing in the morning helps set the tone for healthy vascular function throughout the day. Walking at least 20 minutes daily is one of the simplest yet most effective ways to keep arteries responsive. Gentle, consistent movement stimulates blood vessels to expand and contract naturally, supporting both heart and muscle function. Leafy greens and nitrate-rich vegetables should be a regular part of meals. They provide the nutrients that nourish the endothelium and help maintain nitric oxide levels, the molecule responsible for vessel relaxation and flexibility. Incorporate healthy fats such as olive oil, nuts, seeds, and fatty fish. These fats support the structural integrity of the arterial lining, helping vessels remain smooth and adaptable. Reducing added sugars lowers oxidative stress and inflammation, two silent forces that stiffen arteries over time. Small adjustments like swapping sugary snacks for fresh fruit or minimizing processed foods can have lasting benefits. Finally, prioritize relaxation and a consistent sleep rhythm. Stress and disrupted sleep interfere with circulation and endothelial function. Gentle evening routines, quiet breathing, or light stretching before bed can reinforce vascular health and set your body up for recovery overnight. Taken together, these habits may seem simple, but when practiced consistently, they send powerful messages to your arteries. Stay flexible, responsive, and resilient. Over time, these small daily choices help your body move, recover, and thrive much like it did years ago. Proof that aging doesn't have to mean slowing down.
If you found this information helpful so far, consider subscribing. This channel focuses on clear, science-based insights to help you understand what's happening inside your body as you age, without extremes, trends, or complicated routines. Just practical knowledge you can actually use to support long-term heart, brain, and circulation health. Subscribing simply means these guides will reach you when you need them, helping you stay consistent with the habits that protect vascular health over time. Now, let's bring everything together and look at what this means for your future. At the heart of healthy aging lies a powerful truth. Your arteries adapt to how you live every day. Every step you take, every meal you choose, every moment of rest and recovery sends signals that shape your vascular flexibility and, by extension, your energy, endurance, and overall vitality. Even after 50, small daily habits matter more than we often realize. Hydrating, walking, eating leafy greens, including healthy fats, moderating sugar, and prioritizing rest are not just good practices, they're messages to your body that it can remain resilient, responsive, and strong. Awareness is the first step. Recognizing the subtle signs of arterial aging, fatigue, rising blood pressure, colder extremities, slower recovery, gives you the opportunity to meaningfully change the trajectory of your health. The changes don't happen overnight, but repeated, consistent action compounds over weeks, months, and years. Ultimately, healthy circulation is the foundation of lasting vitality. When your arteries stay flexible, the organs that matter most, heart, brain, kidneys, muscles, receive the oxygen and nutrients they need to function optimally. Energy returns, stamina improves, and daily life feels easier. You may not see these changes at first, but your body feels them. And with steady, mindful habits, you can support your arteries and yourself for decades to come. Aging gracefully is less about the years behind you and more about how well your blood keeps moving forward.